So I was watching a Lifetime movie from like the 90s as one does, and it's called The Man in the Moon, and it was Reese Witherspoon's like first film. She was like 14 years old in it. Um I'm bundled up. I'm still sick. So anyway, this is my review of it. I'm gonna start off with the beginning of the film. So it takes place in, I'm guessing, probably around I'd have to say the 60s because Elvis Presley is kind of a part of the movie. Reese Witherspoon plays a character named Danny. She lives in a family kind of out in the country. She's got an older sister and a baby sister, a mom and a dad, and she's obsessed with Elvis Presley. But that's not really a vital role in the movie. Because later a family moves in next door, and they're actually family friends with Danny's parents. They like knew each other since school, but it's just this woman and her three sons because her husband passed away. The oldest son, Court, is the age of the oldest daughter, Maureen, but just weirdly, some reason, somehow, Reese Witherspoon's character Danny falls in love with him. She's 14 and he's 17. And while the age gap might seem kind of a little bit like touchy, a little bit almost predatory, at the time this was pretty normal. It wasn't really seen by society as weird or bad. But you do see him struggle with it, struggle between temptation and realizing that it almost feels kind of wrong. It's just a coming of age movie, so they really pace back between like, I'm still a kid, I'm not a kid. Danny really tries so desperately to grow up. She's, oh, that's kid stuff. She stops listening to Elvis Presley and tears down all of her posters in her room because she's obsessed with a real boy now and she thinks that Elvis Presley is just kid stuff. So it starts off when they first meet. Danny really neglects her responsibilities. She likes to go swimming. She likes to run around in the woods. She doesn't like to help around the house with her parents at all. Her parents kind of, they don't really like it, but they just, realize it's just part of her personality. Eventually she'll grow up when she's ready. They're kind of gentle about it, but they nag her. So she runs off into the woods and she goes skinny dipping. They use a body double, so you see some random grown woman's bare butt. And she's in the water, and this guy comes and he jumps into the water and it scares her because she doesn't know who he is. And she's like, "Get off, this is our property." And he's like, "I'm not going anywhere." And she's like, "Okay, fine, but you gotta turn around so I can leave, right?" So she turns around and you see her bare butt, and I swear to God I caught a glimpse of the coochie. Maybe my mind was filling in the blanks, but I swear I saw some random grown woman's coochie. Glad it was a grown woman at least, but still. And he looked like, because he didn't know that she was naked, and then when he sees her running away, he goes, "What are you hiding from? You don't got anything to hide anyway," because it's supposed to be like a little girl. It's a little weird. It's definitely a little iffy. It's like, because it's like, he's 3 years older than her, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but you can definitely tell the age difference by responsibilities and really their roles in their day-to-day lives. She's just a kid. She just plays around, and he works very hard maintaining the farm at home, taking care of the stuff. He's the man of the house because the father passed away, so he's basically an adult and he has to be responsible. So, she kind of, grows on him, and he's very fond of her. So there's a few times where they almost kiss, but he realizes it's wrong, and she's really mad at him because she wants to be kissed by him. She doesn't really understand. She's like, "Well, I'm grown." Eventually, they do kiss, and it's really weird. This one part that really bothered me was when they almost kissed one of the first times. She leans in and he kind of pulls away and runs off and gets real mad. And she's like, "What? What's wrong? What did I do?" And he's like, "Were you trying to, make me kiss you?" She was like, "Yeah." He was like, and he said something like, well, I almost wanted to do more than just kiss you. Look, someday somebody's gonna pop your cherry, and I don't want that to be me because I'll feel real bad about it. So it's kind of weird and freaky because he has these, like, temptations to kiss her and get all, like, horny up in there, but, like, he doesn't because he knows it's wrong. Even though, really, kind of, I feel like the parents don't really seem to mind them being a couple because later on, she goes out at night swimming, and that's when that happens, is she runs home real sad, and it starts storming, and the mom is pregnant, so this will be her fourth child. So she runs home, and mom comes out looking for her. She trips and falls. She gets sent to the hospital. You think she's going to lose the baby, but she don't. She does have the baby. She's trying to have a boy. She ends up having another girl. That's kind of irrelevant. But anyway, as I was saying, so the next day, you know, there's a little bit of tension in the house because now mom's in the hospital. Danny went running out and went swimming at night. But the dad just kind of asked her casually, like, you like Court a lot? She's like, yeah, I do like him, sir. And he's like, well, was he your swimming partner? She goes, yes, sir. He's like, well, that's all right. You know, you guys can go swimming if you want. And then later on, some time passes, and they grow more fond of each other. And she comes home smiling because this is the moment where he actually did kiss her. It didn't go any further than that. He just gave her first kiss, and she was, like, on cloud nine. She comes home smiling. Dad kind of knows something's up. He's like, do you like that Court boy? She goes, I do, Daddy. He's like, well, just make sure you bring him around a little bit more. You guys can still go on your swimming dates. Just bring him around so I can get a good look in his eyes. Right, and keep in mind, he's known Court since he was a child, too, before they moved away. Anyway. Sorry. But yeah, so anyway, some time passes, and remember, Maureen's the older sister. She actually is Court's age. Maureen talks to Danny about it, and Danny's like, how do you know when you've fallen in love with a boy? How do you kiss him, and this and that? And she's really happy for Danny. Maureen just broke up with her boyfriend because she felt like he didn't really love her. You know, he's trying to put the moves on her in the beginning of the movie, and she wasn't having it. She didn't feel like he truly cared about her. She felt unsafe and uncomfortable, and she wanted, you know, to fall in love with somebody. So she's talking to Danny, and she knows that Danny's talking about Court, and she's real happy, and she, like, asks him, like, is Court your boyfriend, and stuff like that. And she's real supportive of it. The whole family don't really mind. They trust Court because he's a good dude. Well, they think he's a good dude anyway. I just feel like, look. So, at one point, mom's still in the hospital, and the dad's like, alright, you know, Court came over for dinner, and it's just Court and Danny, and Dad gets in the car, and he goes, your sister will be home shortly. This is a turning point in the movie. We're more than halfway through the film at this point. So then, she comes home, and she's just looking at Court differently. You know, they're flirting with each other's eyes the whole time. You know, they get some time alone, they kiss. This is when the mom's giving birth in the hospital, and they're kissing and stuff, and they fall in love. Next thing you know, they're doing it in the woods. And look, and this is kind of weird to me. It was like PG-13. I kind of skipped through it, but honestly, I feel like I saw the worst of it earlier when I saw that woman's bare butt and coochie, because, like, it just showed, like, them, like, in the woods, and she was, like, giggling, but I didn't see, like, any, like, thrusting or anything like that. He was just, like, kind of on top of her. Anyway, I skipped through it, so maybe it did get worse. I don't know. I don't really think it was that bad. Anyway, so they made love in the woods and got some ticks and Lyme disease and all that goodness. And, then she runs home. And she runs home like her hair's a mess, you know, her shirt's not tucked in and everything. Danny sees her before she gets in the house. She knows what happened. Danny is furious, right? Because she's like, you stole my man, you know, you stole my man, you nasty tramp. But honestly, I feel like he's not even worth fighting for, right? He's just a horny kid because literally he's the only boy within the 2-mile radius. Like, they could walk over to his house, and he's the only boy because they live out in the middle of nowhere. So they're fighting over this one boy, And it's like so stupid. And it's like, he's just horny, dude. I feel like, because now he's like saying that he's gonna pop this 14-year-old girl's cherry. And now he's like, oh, I know I loved you since I laid eyes on you, Maureen. Like, the fuck? Anyway, it's just stupid. And so, anyway, they did that thing. This is near the end of the movie. You think there's a little bit more movie left to go. You think there's like a turning point in the plot, something significant. Because remember, the movie is called The Man in the Moon. And the myth is that you can talk to the man in the moon and he will be able to help you with your problems and grant your wishes and stuff. I thought Elvis would also play a more vital role in this movie, but I guess that was wrong too. He was just part of the soundtrack. Because now this is what happens. My bad, my alarm was going off. Anyway, this is what happens. So then, so it's just a sunny day, and, this is like the day of or the day after they did the deed. Court's, he's on cloud 9, right? He's feeling like all the man that he can be. He gets on his tractor and starts to do his work. He sees that he left his hat on a branch, before they went off into the woods. So he's like happy and he's like hallucinating and remembering, all that happened that night, and he's having imaginations of it, and he's reliving it, and he's seeing, Maureen running through the woods with him and stuff. And so he's on top of the tractor. The branch is a few good feet away, and he's trying to reach for his hat to put it on his head. Cuts to the scene, and he falls off the tractor, and it shows the tractor. And look, and I didn't expect it to be so traumatizing. So then the next scene, Danny's mad, right? She's mad because Maureen did it with them. She's gonna, she's got a bone to pick with Court. So she runs off looking for Court, and when she comes, she sees through the bushes his mom's holding him, and he's covered in blood, and she's screaming like bloody murder, and she tells Danny to go away. Danny runs home. She sends her dad out to get him, and Court passes away. He dies. So Court literally died thinking about that time he got to bump uglies with Maureen. Like, that's really messed up, right? Because, like, that's just so weird and short-lived. Like, he just died horny, basically. Like, there wasn't really much love or much, like, emotional depth, I don't feel like, to this movie. So now we're at the end, and Danny and Maureen have to learn to overcome their differences. Danny's really mad at Maureen, but Maureen is just grieving Court. I mean, Danny's grieving Court too, but Danny also, on top of that, has to deal with the jealousy and the anger of her sister and the unresolved conflict between them. And so, she knows what she did, and she has a one-on-one talk with her father when they go fishing, and he tells Danny, you can't live your life being angry at your sister. You don't know what she did. He goes, no, but I have a pretty good feeling. You need to talk to her because, it's not going to bring Court back being mad at your sister. So she goes over to Court's freshly dug grave to grieve, and she sees Maureen is already there, and she sees Maureen, fall down to her knees crying at the grave, and she finally realizes, like, it hurts her just as much as it hurts Danny. So she comes and comforts her, and they kind of make amends, and they talk about how they wish they could see the man in the moon, and the man in the moon could help them. And then that's kind of how the movie ends. They just kind of make amends. But I feel like Maureen also was feeling a lot of guilt because I know she doesn't know how he died. Like, she doesn't know that he was reaching for the hat or the fact that he was reminiscing on the night before. She doesn't know that that was what was happening in the moment that he tragically got murdered. But I feel like she does feel a sense of guilt because, like, that was the last time she saw him was when they made love. And I do feel like, after you emotionally intimately attach yourself to a person like that, you kind of, I feel like she would definitely feel some sort of guilt or some kind of immediate pull from everything because, like, he immediately, like, died after. Like, I know I would feel guilty, like, oh damn, I killed him. Like, I don't know, but I definitely feel like there was some of that going on with Maureen. But I felt like it was kind of a strange movie because the plot it was kind of flat. right? There was some decent pacing, right, between, you know, coming of age and am I old enough for this and that, but it wasn't really very like heavy in that. I just felt like it was just kind of a series of, like, it felt like the timeline of this movie happened within probably, I'd say, a month. It was a very short timeline. There wasn't a lot of character development. There wasn't a weird twist or a plot. There wasn't any magic. I thought there was some magic was gonna happen because the Man in the Moon. Like I said, Elvis didn't really play as big of a role as I thought he would in the movie. It was just the same few characters with the same setting, just slowly evolving. I guess the twist at the end was Court dying. I definitely didn't expect that. That was a tragic cutoff that kind of left me feeling a little bit uneasy. It definitely was, it was emotional, and it was just kind of all at once. Maybe that's what the directors were trying to do. I don't know. It was an interesting film. Overall, I'd still rate it probably like a 7 or 8 out of 10. It wasn't a bad movie. The acting was great. I mean, it's got Reese Witherspoon in it, and that was her first role, and she did incredible. Like, overall, it was a pretty good movie. It was just kind of, I feel like it was just kind of weird. It was just kind of like one of those Edgar Allan Poe stories that, like, you expect a twist at the end, but the twist is that there is no twist. If you know, you know. Kind of felt like maybe, like, The Gold Bug or something like that. But overall, not a bad movie. If, you know, I was bored enough, I might watch it again, especially now that I'm more prepared for it. I still am a little bit bothered by the character Court and how he was just basically horny the whole movie because, like, what? Like, what? What? When he says that thing about popping her cherry, I was like, okay, this is a little bit weird. She's 14. Like, I get it, you're only 3 years apart, but I feel like the number is not equivalent to the, how do I explain it? Like, he was emotionally and responsibility-wise far more mature than her. Like, he was practically an adult and she was still a kid, you know what I mean? She wasn't, you know, taking on responsibilities or really doing anything mature. So, yeah. That was the movie, The Man in the Moon. If you want to see it for yourself, go for it. It's on Amazon Prime. You can get a free subscription for whatever it is that it's on, like a 5-month trial or a 5-day trial. It was pretty good. I was able to watch it for free. So yeah, thank you so much.